Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Radio Free Wall Street. Welcome, welcome, welcome to tonight's very special broadcast. It's time that you and I say the unsaid. It's time that you and I know the unknown. It's time that you and I have a conversation that has been due for a long time. I think we are of like mind. And I think you and I both know that a Great Depression is coming. Something truly ugly, something truly horrible, and something that will usher in a new dark age, okay? I think you're of that mindset, and I think you realize that's coming. And I think that's why Destiny brought us together. And I think you've been very patient with me, and I think you know and I know that all my life has prepared me for this time. All my life has prepared me to know how to trade it, understand it in great detail, warn about it, and I think Destiny's put us together to trade and survive this thing. This will usher in a new dark age, and I think we know it. I think we know which way society's going. I think we know which way the cities are going to end up. I think you and I well know what abject poverty spreading around the world will bring, and I think it's time for people of foresight and leadership to come forward. And I think God has selected just those people. And I think that when you try to explain it to people around you to understand it, I think it's God's way of being kind to them, since they will not have the capacity to understand it, the emotional fortitude to deal with it. It's probably better that you leave the things innocent so that they won't suffer. But for people of strength and courage, people of resources, people of knowledge, I think Destiny is having us rise to this great occasion. Now let's cut the crap and get serious. We're headed for depression. Global debt levels are at phenomenal levels like never seen before. We have got some of the biggest stupid, dumb-ass leaders, not just Republicans, not just Democrats, but all over the world. And they have let us down. They're corrupt, they're stupid, they're greedy, they're naive, but more than anything else, they're blinded to what's about to happen. And leadership, not just in America, around the world, has led us into this huge debt pile. China. We're talking 1 billion people. And we're talking a debt that is so out of control that they don't even know how much they owe. We're talking about people that have sold their souls to buy condominiums and apartments for far more than they can afford, that are nothing but caves in the air, concrete tombs. And people are bunching themselves up in cities that will become nothing less than animal farms, where the savages will prey on the victims in the streets, and you know it and I know it. But there's a remnant. There's the survivors. There's the new leaders. There's the new wealth. They're the people of insight, of kindness, of fortitude, of capable of taking action. That's us. That I believe God's going to bless abundantly. And from that remnant, we will try to rebuild mankind and survive this cleansing, this weeding out, this die-off, this extinction that we know is coming. Now, let me be very clear here. All my life, I've known another Great Depression's coming. All my life, I've been a sell-side analyst. I understand bubbles. I understand debt creation. I understand bubble stock markets, bubble real estate markets. And I've prospered abundantly applying my skills in just those times. I've learned the signs of those things. I know how the bankers are going to talk and act. I know what bullshit they're going to say on the TV. I know what crap they will do to make traps for idiots. And I know how to trade it. And I've wiped out some of the biggest brokers of our times with my trading for you, as we both know. Now, we are at the cuspice of the next Great Depression, and it has started. As you know, when you look on the far horizon and you see the storm clouds coming, and you know how bad it is, I never know when it's going to be here until the tip of the storm comes, the first winds blow, the first gray sky, and we are now at that moment. The global debt wipe out has begun. The global stock markets are in bubble. The debt orgy has created all the debt it can possibly create. I repeat, they've created all the debt they can possibly create. We are now at a situation where the dominoes are lined up and they're about to fall. We have the tools at our disposal, thank God, to trade it. And that's no tall order, okay? Because for many years I feared they would not be available to us, but they are. And now is the time to load for bear. Now is the time to stop bullshitting around, stop playing games, stop saying maybe. Now, if you don't understand this, well, you weren't meant to. And if you don't accept it, well, you weren't. But I'm not talking to you. Those who want to scratch their heads go, well, the IMF will be there, and the Federal Reserve and the Treasury, and they bailed it out last time. Did they really bail it out last time? I submit to you that they wiped out billions of people last time, many of whom have never recovered, that the poverty that they've created still exists around the world, and I maintain that the debt that has to be paid back for that still exists, and the pile of debt is bigger than ever. What did they do? They made them as bigger. Now, if you understand that, I'm talking to you. Now, if you're scratching your ass still going, oh, duh, what's that thing there? I don't understand. Well, this is not for you. And you're not going to be happy with us, and we're not going to be happy with you. And we are now going to become mutually exclusive. Okay? We are building for that core group of people who understand a Great Depression is coming. Now, I don't care how rich you are or how poor you are, because in a Great Depression, a little becomes a whole lot. And we can build and build and build this model. We have wonderful tools that are all different size scales, all different amounts of leverage, all different amounts of margin requirements that allow people with small money to become big money. And the fools have given us away at them. Why? Because they really buy their bullshit. Okay? Fidelity really believes that emerging market debt that pays a high yield is instruments that people want. They really believe that when their funds start wiping out, that if they just say, well, the fund is free, that they can keep the suckers in the game. And to a certain extent, they're right. But they also know, as we know, that when the wipeout comes, there will be no survivors. People who have given their money to Brazil and Venezuela and Argentina and Turkey and Italy and Greece and Spain, to name a few, and China, will never see their money again. There are people who know that these valuations of Baidu and the FANGs, and now we have a package delivery company that has become worth $8 trillion. Does that make any sense to you at all? And they're not profitable in their package delivery business? So what you've got are the greatest overvaluations of companies ever, financed on massive debt, with greedy people throwing massive amounts of money at them. Telsa has never made a profit. Okay? Amazon has never made a profit. They are a cloud computing company. Netflix is a streaming TV company. Twitter, what exactly is a twit? Facebook? Oh, right. Baidu? Alibaba? These are companies that are destined for failure. And their valuations are beyond absurd and ridiculous. And God, in His infinite wisdom, has allowed the fools to give us specific instruments targeted to trade those exact companies. We've got a stock market that is at its biggest, longest rally ever. It is the most overvalued ever by any measurement, and everyone agrees with that. We've got an economy that has seen free money for 10 years. And the free money is gone. It's ran out. There is no more. You've got a president that doesn't know what a national security briefing is and doesn't care. He doesn't like leaving New York City or his golf courses. He doesn't understand international affairs. He doesn't understand leadership. He doesn't understand to be a humanitarian. He doesn't understand how to be civil. He is a cutthroat, kick-ass, whoremonger bastard. And they elect him the freaking president. The White House is up for grabs. The staff has said it's the worst job ever. He has been corrupted and colluded by the most vile dictator, mass murderers ever on the planet, and he utilizes them. He thinks they're great people. He wants to be one. And that man is the President of the United States. You have a leadership vacuum like we've never seen before. We have people who have no real assets. They think they've got a retirement savings account in their 10K, RE-K, Roth IK. That's not going to be there. And you have us with precious instruments like Treasury Direct, cash in our mattress. We have some beautiful ETFs that are targeted to meet our very needs. We've got enhanced trading with instruments of all sizes. God is great, and He is good to us. And, you know, I've always believed in, like I said, I know I'm talking to you. I've always believed that God always gives you a way out. In every crisis, in every predicament in my life, and there have been a lot of them, there's always been the shadow or the whisper of a way out and a solution. I have never given up. I have never walked away from a challenge. I have never, ever, ever, ever acquiesced to evil, and never will. And because of my tenacity, and my humble gifts, I've survived and prospered. And I was born to trade this depression. I was born to make you fabulously wealthy. I was born to launch the next group of survivors who will reshape the planet. And that's you. And you know it. That little voice inside. When you go and you see the absolute absurd $150 plastic shoes, I know you know it's ridiculous. When you see a $75,000 pickup truck that's felt inside with video screens, where the chassis is paper thin and the sheet metal you can bend by pushing against it, you know what's going on. When you see a $30,000 house that became a $150,000 house, that became a $150,000 house, became $1 million house, you know, like I know, it is impossible. And you know that nobody can afford it. You got people who got their mothers and fathers that they never see, who are slaving away to meet the mortgage. The kids have nothing to eat, or it's a popcorn in a microwave machine. And you know that they're poisoning our food supply. The factories are replacing wholesome ingredients like cream and meat and wheat with fillers from hell that are making people sick. It's all part of the gift of God from us and to us. You know, God gives of His abundance, and you know it. Now, I don't want to define how you define God. I'm not interested. I tell no man what to believe, but I know you believe. I tell no man how to believe, but I know you know how to believe. I know you know what to do, and I know we've been put together for my small role, and I'm rising to the equation. I am rising to this moment. I was born for this crash and wipeout, and you know it, and you've been patient with me for a long time. And those of you that have been with us through the years know that when these crashes come, I know what to do. I don't know how. I don't know why, but I know, and you know I know, and I know how to do it. And we are arriving at just such a moment, just such a time. Now, I come to you in humility and say to you that I understand there's inspiration, and I understand there's gifts, but I also understand that has to be met with hard work. And I've created a machine. I've created our trading terminal. I've created the tools you need to do this. I've also isolated the time-proven tools, some that I've traded with for over 35 years, by the way, successfully, that I know every detail about them and know exactly how they're going to work at any given time. I have a history of every day being in the markets. Every day for the past 35 years, Saturdays and Sundays included, analyze every movement. And I've been able to find the 20 or 30 instruments that will work, and I know how to deploy them. And now's the time that all these years of work, all the things you have learned, all of the feelings we have, which is again a gift, the knowledge that you and I can bring to the table. Now, I'm going to say something to you. If you try to explain to people about the ridiculous excesses of a $4 cup of coffee, or a $150 plastic shoe, or wanton wasteful purchases, consumerism, of the bubbles and the curses of being in debt, they're not going to understand. Because they're not supposed to understand. They haven't been given the gifts you've been given. They don't have the knowledge you have. They don't know what's coming. And if they did, they wouldn't know what to do about it. Stop wasting your time with them. Stop depleting your resources, both in actual money and emotionally. It's a mutually exclusive club we are in. It is to trade a Great Depression, specifically the Trump Depression. The trade wars Donald Trump has started. Even his own trade negotiations walking back, well, that's okay. That's Donald Trump. He doesn't mean that. You know, the deadline's today. And kind of goes, what are you talking about? There's no deadline today. And people, negotiators say, listen, we'll meet Wednesday next week. Forget it. I can tell you that the people who are involved in dealing with Donald Trump are babysitters. I can tell you that they're great patriots that if they were a lesser man, they go, no, I don't need this shit. Goodbye, asshole. I don't need this humiliation. I don't need to put up with you, you prick. I don't need this, but I'm doing it because I took an oath. I love this country. And I know the country's screwed up, but I didn't take an oath to be here just for the good times. And listen to me. There are many great men in the military who understand what's going on. There are many people deployed, I've talked to a lot of them, who know the deployment is senseless and ridiculous. They know, in a lot of cases, they're risking their lives for nothing. They know that the military has been betrayed by the president. There are people in the FBI and the spook agencies who know who Donald Trump is, who know what cartel he's aligned with, and they're waiting. And we're going to regain back America in a real way, and the world, but we've got to go through the Great Reset, and that's what a depression is. We got to get that $1 million, $300,000 ridiculous price house back down to $15,000 and $20,000. We have got to get out of this pile of debt. We've got to topple these bankers and close them down and wipe them out and bury them. We have got to reset the global economy, the global trading systems, and the beauty is that when we come out of this, we'll come out with a digitized world. We will come out with the new technologies we have deployed correctly. And we will come out with a world where, again, American leadership will prevail. You know, do you know why America's been able to survive all the things it survived when many other countries could not? Because Americans are good people. Americans are generous people. Now, I have lived all over the world. I have done business all over the world. I know leaders all over the world. I know business people all over the world. And I can tell you that none of them could put a candle to the American work ethic, the American business ethic, and what you and I know deep down inside. Okay? The dishonest liars, scumbags that will say and do anything, whether they're lawyers who will cheat their clients, or bankers who will feed their people, or brokers that will put people into trades to wipe out, there are still the core of good people who don't do that shit. Now, these huge mega trillion-dollar corporations, they're not going to survive this. They can't be managed. They can't be controlled. They can't be capitalized. They really can't be profitable. In this coming wipeout, you will acquire the assets of key companies. You will acquire with your core real wealth the assets like everyone of a forward-looking mind has done in every depression, every wipeout. You know that in every dark age, babies will be born. People will marry. Houses will be built. Farms will produce food. We just are in a reset. There will also be the scumbags. There will be the murderers. There will be the savages. There will be the beasts. There will be the barbarians. So, there always have been. But people of good faith, people of goodwill, people of inspiration and knowledge will rise up in these times and take their rightful role of leadership. And simple people will be leaders, not these professional liars and scumbags. And people who are wiping out will seek you out, and they will seek your knowledge, and you will show them how to rebuild, and you will have the seed money to start things over again. And what my role is to trade this Great Depression, this wipeout, and show you how to make phenomenal sums of money. My role is to understand these events, to get you out of the way as your broker wipes out, to get you into the right trades that make you the right money, to show you how to preserve your wealth, and truly to show you how to take your role as a leader. And this is such a time that people of quiet greatness, of great inner strength, and people of knowledge come to power. The days of the whoremongers and the liars and the thieves and the scumbags are coming to an end. The days of the Morgan Stanleys, the days of these BlackRock, the days of PIMCO, the days of these trillion-dollar entities that do nothing but milk people out of their money, who've created false wealth, who've made ridiculous investments, valuing companies at trillions of dollars just so they can sell, then buy, then sell again, are over. All their cutesy debt-enhanced tricks are going to come to an end. All the department of leveraged debt, of swaps, will come crashing down. All these billion and trillion-dollar companies that don't make a profit, who engineer their balance sheets, will be shown. You know what a depression does? It's not showing you who's swimming naked. It's showing you who were the masters of creating debt, who are the masters of creating illusionary profits, and it will take them down, and it will wipe them out, and it will create a whole new playing field. Because right now, the people who are prospering are the ones who know how to engineer debt. They're the ones that who teach you how bullshit and phony baloney accounting and manufactured balance sheets are not profits. Amassing massive amounts of debt is not a sustainable business model. We have got a stock market that's valuations have no basis in reality. We have companies that are run by CEOs and CFOs who only know how to make losses look like profits, who make debt look like equity, and make worthless entities that don't have a good idea appear to be these vastly wonderful businesses. And now, their day is done. Now, their house of cards comes tumbling down. Now, people who say, no. Amassing massive amounts of debt is not a good thing. Companies pride themselves in hiring chief financial officers that know how to create endless debt, who know how to create swaps, who know how to engineer a balance sheet to wholly disguise the losses they're taking. You know what? That's over. Those people are done. their tricks will be revealed for the lies they are. And you, my friend, will make vast amounts of money as we reveal them for the scumbags they are, as we take apart their model, as their businesses come crashing down, and as we are able to make vast fortunes. I know you know the Depression's coming. I know you've known it all your life. I know you know that we know how to do this. I know you know, and now's the time. Like I said, this conversation on the silly-ass boogers is something they can't understand and can't comprehend. If you ask them to come and listen to this thing, they'll howl with laughter. And when they stand in the bread line, we can give them some bread. And when their kids are hungry, we can give them some rice. And when we start rebuilding the companies, we can give them jobs. Because this is the time for people of knowledge and people of courage. You know, the great wealth in America was created in the last Great Depression. And depressions are mutually exclusive as to who prospers. A stock market is a mass market instrument. Okay, these investment funds, these retirement funds that can debt that will never pay back as $1 million return for retirement are instruments for fools. Okay? You understand that a 3% return that will be there is very valuable, and a 7% return or 10% return in money that will never be paid back is a recipe for disaster. So now you can take that knowledge and turn it into profits. You understand how to manage your core wealth. You understand the curse that debt truly is. You understand how to arrange your affairs. And now it is time, and you have the good instincts to know that the Depression is upon us. The only thing amazing to me about this coming Depression was how long they've been able to hold it off and how much debt they've been able to amass. You know, if you look at any chart of debt, you know, in the past 20 years, it is shot to the moon. And you shake your head and go, the finest minds in America have not been dedicated to a cancer cure. The finest minds in America have not been dedicated to building. The finest minds that we've had have been schooled in how to create debt, how to package it, how to trade it, how to sell it, how to move it around. And the geniuses of our time are the ones who create massive debt and create massive exposure and go into every benign savings, every company, every market, be it housing, or be it construction, or be it the food industry, and create these massive conglomerate companies that create debt and sell in mass. And because they have so much debt, the products they make, from the loaf of bread to the automobile to anything we use, has been cheapened to the point where it fall apart in your hands. Okay? Quality does not exist, and we know it. Expertise does not exist as it leaves. We're raising a generation of millennials that don't know what a hammer is. I had this happen today. We had a big Labor Day party with the kids. And one of my daughters and her closest 50 friends. And they showed up here. Okay, well, I don't allow any beer or drinking on the place. And my principal's been, showing they get more fun with their clothes on than not, and instead of being the dingy, dark disco, show them how to ride a horse, tear around on a 4x4, and all that. Well, he gets to the pool, and the pool just fills up with paper plates, and they eventually you get around to pushing each other in the water, which I think is great fun. And the skimmers start sucking the shit up, okay? So the pressure meter goes up, and I can hear the pump from inside my office howling, and I know the water flow's cut off, so I send one of the kids out there. I have these group of kids that are the losers, the lost kids, and they come around and with their tattoo and their piercings, and they know nothing, their attitude, and the idea is to try to win them over. And sometimes we get lucky. So I asked them for a screwdriver, a flat blade screwdriver, to open up the set screw that holds the skimmer face on there. He didn't know what a screwdriver was, and he brought me the screw gun. I said, well, no, I can't bring the screw gun in the water and get it wet, and I need a screwdriver. He goes, well, we don't have one of those. And then I asked another guy who worked with him, I said, listen, can you... So he came, and he brought me 5 or 6 different Phillips screwdrivers that I had on one of the desks around here, because we've been screwing brackets on the walls and moving stuff around, And I said, well, no, those are Phillips heads. He goes, oh, you mean the pointed one? I said, yeah. I said, I need the flat blade. He goes, oh, they have them like that? And anyway, I finally had to bring me a dull knife, and I opened up the skimmer to his amazement. Oh, you turned that by hand? And I thought, oh, my God, have we got our work cut out for us? Did not know what a flat blade screwdriver was. We've made a big deck, okay? And I use carriage bolts, and I frame my wooden decks with steel underneath it, because steel is very cheap and takes the place of the stringers, and then I have the face boards up there. Because the wood quality is so bad, if you know what I'm talking about, it warps. So I go ahead and put the 2 screws on, cross them each other all the way down the plank, and I screw them short distances to make it work. Well, they came with these self-tapping, self-drilling screws, those little China-made shitting things. If you torque too much, they bend, and if they stay there, they rust, even though they're gold-colored. And I said, no, I want stainless steel carriage bolts with a lock washer and a flat washer and a nut on the end of it, because I don't even like the nylox. They had no idea what it was. And then the idea of drilling a hole and putting a board in it, we made a little jig to keep the boards the right part. It was comical watching them. And then, the carriage bolts have the bump in there, right? The stops from turning and the rounded head. Well, they had all the carriage bolts stuck up because they didn't understand the carriage bolt went into the wood. So I said, okay, now you get a hammer, and you hammer set the wood, and you go down there, and you tighten the nuts. And I thought, oh, my God, do we have our work cut out for us? And this is the symptom of the time we live in. They've made them incredibly stupid. They've made them incredibly helpless. How are they going to do in the world of the Depression? How are they going to do in the world of limited supplies and limited money and resources? And the answer is they're not. And that's why they need you. That's why they need us. And that's why you need to make a lot of money, and you need to amass a safe place, and you need to amass supplies so we can save our great knowledge base. Okay, we can save what we know. We can save society and mankind. Because the world that our enemies have planned is a very ugly place indeed. And they have not won. So don't buy into these powerful conspiracy theories. They know they haven't won. They are scared to death of us. They're scared to death of the generation with knowledge and power and resources. People know how to make things and build things and do things. People understand true value and true worth. Okay? And our time is coming. All that you know in your lifetime, all that you've achieved, will now be invaluable to mankind. And in order to do that, you've got to have cash. You've got to have money. And my belief is that we're about to be blessed abundantly, and we have a very rare gift. And we know how to make money when everyone else is losing their money. And we know how to amass wealth when wealth's being destroyed. We understand how to trade these markets. We understand how to use the proper tools at the proper time in the proper way. So now it's time for you to rise the equation. It is time for you to put your resources to work. It's time for you to put your lifelong lessons you've learned into practice. It is time to trade the greatest real estate, debt, stock market wipeout ever. It is time to trade markets that are going back. You know, gold for thousands of years was $30 to $50. The stock market, the Dow, they never envisioned these kinds of elevation. If you look at a 50-year chart, you can see that it's been an almost straight-up line. If you overlay the debt creation to the stock market valuations, you realize that this orgy we've had is not based on profits or value. It's based on what companies can create the most debt. A debt wipeout is a terrible thing and a great thing. Companies that are based on debt, the ones that have prospered, are the ones that can write more and more debt. Look at Elon Musk in that stupid-ass battery car. Mercedes announced a competitive car, a Mercedes, with, by the way, the same engines, electric motors more precisely, same batteries, same technology, built on a Mercedes platform, and they don't build cars in tents. That's going to eat his lunch at a better price point. All this crazy shit is coming to an end. And this wipeout is going to be global in nature. And that's because investment is global in nature. How many times have they sold the public on emerging markets? Yay! What emerging markets? It's a shithole for a reason. Okay? They don't pay back their debts. They don't organize their societies. They're not productive, they're destructive, okay? Destructive. And it's not my fault they're destructive, and it's not your fault it's destructive. Look at South Africa. I mean, it is taboo to report that, you know, the government can't run the country. It's taboo to report that white people and factory owners and farmers are being horribly prejudiced against, and their assets are being seized without recourse, without law. Where's the UN Commission on that? Okay? We have vast numbers of people who don't know if they're boys or girls, spending vast amounts of money to correct God's error. Could God be so wrong with so many people? So we have a lot of very confused people. And we have a lot of people that have wasted what resources they've accumulated on the dumbest shit things ever. And you and I know that. And you and I know how to stop that. You and I know how to capitalize on that. So now it is time for you to rise to the equation. Look, silly fools are not going to understand this conversation. You know, this time it's different is the famous battle cry of every market and every bubble that ever was created. The Fed is raising rates, the yield curve is inverting, we're headed for a recession, and this time it's different. It's not different. Debt is out of control. No, we can hold more debt today. Really? Why? Well, what is different? The debt is not being paid back as we speak around the world. Okay? Do you realize the amount of debt that China has created? Do you know the amount of debt that China has written in Africa? Do you realize the amount of debt that corporations hold? The debt is double and triple what it was. Derivatives are at $800 trillion. They don't even know what the instruments are or where they lie or what they do. Just like subprime, well, they've got subprime on steroids now. So welcome to the greatest trading opportunity ever in the greatest market. The next Great Depression that we all knew was coming has started. The international debts are wiping out. The bubble markets are peaking. Currency markets are in disarray. The European Union is cracking up as we speak. The British exit's happening. Now we've got the Canadian exit. I mean, it's not the British exit basically Britain leaving the European trade zone. It's not Donald Trump engineering Canada leaving the America's trade zone. Do you think this is going to go well? What makes this worse is there are a lot of really stupid leaders in the world. A whole new group of them came into power in Italy. But none can hold a candle to Donald Trump. And like I've been telling you lately, he's going to make us vast amounts of money. You know, some new books coming out and some new information. We'll recap it for you. And the one thing is painfully obvious is Donald Trump is a maniac. He's out of control. His people are suffering mightily. And the patriots in America, they are not going to let Donald Trump destroy our great empire. We're going into a depression, but there will be a remnant. There will be a constitution we can build back again. There will be fundamentals that will survive. You just have to be smart enough to understand what's happening and know what to do, because destiny has brought us together for this time.